In a world where one woman tries to start a podcast,
how will I ever do this on my own?
She thought she would have to get expensive equipment.
What? I can do all of this on a free app?
She thought she would have to find creation tools all over the internet.
You mean it can all be contained in an app on my phone and computer?
She thought she would have to do all her own distribution.
You mean to tell me this app is going to send it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all those other platforms for me?
She thought she would never make any money.
I don't have to wait for a minimum listenership to monetize?
She thought that she would have to find all kinds of different equipment and pieces.
But I'm going to download this free Anchor app and get started today.
Visit Anchor.fm and download the free Anchor app to be just like her, the ultimate podcaster.
Hello and welcome to the Lou Review. This is your host, Rosa, and today I have a very special guest, Jennifer Bryan, also known as the Cocktail Evangelist. So Jennifer has come prepared to convert me if necessary, but I don't think it's even going to be hard. So Jennifer, thank you for coming today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you are the Cocktail Evangelist, but your brand is Make and Muddle?
Make and Muddle, yes. I am the Cocktail Evangelist here to spread the good news about booze. And Make and Muddle is my brand. We have a line of all-natural cocktail mixers that are designed and branded and produced here in Louisville, Kentucky. We have a co-packer that we use. So I develop the recipes, and then I send them to the co-packer, and then they bottle them for us, and then we distribute. We do the heavy lifting in cocktail mixers so that you can have a delicious 3 or 4 ingredient cocktail every time from your house.
Oh, that is fantastic. Simple is better.
Yes, it is. I mean, the world of craft cocktails, it doesn't have to be complicated. It is so sophisticated, and especially when you go out to drink, you go out to dinner, you're having a date night, you're meeting girlfriends or friends in general, and you know, you have this magnificent, magical cocktail, and it has, 15 ingredients and house-made syrups and some tinctures and, all of the things that make mixologists unique and make you want to go there to drink. But to replicate that at home is really labor and time intensive and expensive. So the goal with Make and Muddle is that we do really sophisticated layered flavor profiles so that that one ingredient replaces several in a cocktail.
So like if you might have your garnish and then you have your base, which would be your liquor of choice, and then you would add in your syrup, which the one you brought tonight is 7 syrup.
7 syrup. It is our flagship syrup, and it is 3 different sugars and 7 different spices in it. And this was actually designed as before Make and Muddle. I was messing around with a pumpkin spice liqueur recipe, and I bet I did that recipe, I don't know, 15 or 20 times. Like, it was never quite right. And then I figured out that it really didn't want any liquor in it. It just wanted to be a syrup.
Okay.
And then at that point, once I started R&D'ing that, I realized that I wanted it to be really intense without being a sugar bomb. So this syrup has a 2-day steep on it. Everything comes to a boil. The sugar and the water, we have organic cane sugar and brown sugar and piloncillo sugar, which is a sugar from Mexico that still has a really high molasses content. Bring it to a boil, add all of the 7 baking spices in it, and then we cut the heat and let it sit and steep for 2 days.
Whoa.
And then when it's time to bottle, we bring it back in and we double strain it, and then it comes to temperature, and then we bottle at 165 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's it's a great syrup. It does a money back guarantee that it's the best old fashioned you've ever had, and it also does really lovely tiki cocktails with rum And it also, all of our mixers are made to do cocktails and mocktails both.
Exactly.
So we have lots of spirit-free recipes for if people are not imbibing for whatever reason. We
But
also
they still want to have a cute drink that they can hold in company.
That's exactly right. And not a soda, you know,
Right,
that's something
yeah.
other than a soda. We also have done some kid craft beverage classes that are a ton of fun.
Oh.
So yeah, we do the recipe that is maybe a kid-friendly recipe. We have a couple of really phenomenal milkshake recipes. And then you can also make them adult versions by just adding the booze, replacing the milk with booze. So it's, they're fun.
That does sound like fun. So now, first of all, you said this is your flagship product. Is this the only product you have out so far?
Oh, no.
What else do you have out?
We have lots of products. So we also have a product called Honey Lavender Elixir.
Okay.
That was designed to be a toddy recipe, believe it or not.
Really?
It was designed to do a gin toddy. And it's organic cane sugar and honey, culinary lavender, citrus peel, lemon, some grapefruit in there, and it does gorgeous hard lavender lemonades. It does a great lavender 75, all sorts of yummy things. And then we have our 2-pepper agave syrup. That is our alternative sweetener. It's 100% agave, 100% organic agave, fresh serrano peppers, black peppers, coriander, bitter orange peel. So it's the spicy margarita that was in your dreams all of the years without having to infuse tequila. So
Whoa, that's amazing.
It's really, really good.
I had some people over at my house last night, and the guys were all talking about the spiciest drink they've ever had. And somebody was like, I had this strawberry lime jalapeno margarita, and that sounded like no fun to me, but he was very excited about it. So I'm like, okay. So he would probably really like to try that.
That's right. Yeah. And the heat is nice in the 2-pepper because it's not a lot out of the gate. It doesn't really hit you in the mouth with it, but you can build the heat, which is nice too. So I'm not a big spicy drink person, but I really like the 2-pepper. And then we have our spiced cherry vanilla syrup.
Oh, I bet that's really popular because cherry vanilla, like Coke and stuff like that, is really
so
popular.
Good. Yeah. And we work with local growers whenever we can. So, and even if they're not from, the Louisville area, we work with local cherry growers out of Michigan. That's where the cherry juice comes from. They ship it to us in concentrate form in big 5-gallon buckets. It's so beautiful. You open that lid and it's unbelievable, the cherry. And it does
an aroma surrounds you.
Crazy. It's crazy. And it does a great Manhattan, just does one of the best Manhattans ever. And really good rum drinks. We have a couple really fun holiday rum drinks that we're doing with the spiced cherry vanilla.
Does it make the drinks red? Is it pretty red?
No, it's dark because of the spices that are in it and the vanilla that's in it. It's pure vanilla extract that's in it. Okay. So it's a fun cocktail though. And then we have our 3-herb gracious grapefruit, which is
that sounds interesting. My favorite soda is Fresca.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, grapefruit sounds exciting.
It's so good.
What is in that one?
So it is. It was designed to actually do Thanksgiving. It was designed to support all of the herbal, lovely, savory things at the table, but also cut through the richness of all of that. So it has organic cane sugar, and then it has charred grapefruit and charred lime in it. Ooh. And then it's pretty magical. We literally char them on the grill and then throw those in and steep with the sugar
for 2 days again.
Yeah, it does not do a 2-day steep. It's at least an overnight steep on that one. And then we add fresh herbs. We add rosemary and sage and thyme.
Rosemary, sage, and thyme.
And the grapefruit and the lime all play really well with it. So it does a killer gimlet. It does a great Paloma. It does, a really good bourbon Ricky. They're all versatile. All of our mixers are designed to do all spirits. So
yeah, that's a good plan. Be as flexible as possible.
Yes, it is. And then our holiday mixer is our orange ginger cranberry shrub, and it is literally, cranberry season is like a minute and a half long, right?
It is.
So we work with lower growers out of Wisconsin, and we get the first of the crop every year. And it's a really beautiful, It's orange and lots of fresh ginger and orange peel and organic cane sugar, brown sugar, and then some white balsamic vinegar goes into it.
No cinnamon.
No cinnamon.
Okay. Because it was sounding like that recipe you put on the stove in the pot and boil it, and it makes your whole house smell like Christmas, but there's no cinnamon. So that's right. That's the difference. Okay. Now, how in the world did you get started at this? Because this is a huge, elaborate thing that you've gone really deep into. But where did you start at, Jennifer?
So I started as a caterer years and decades ago. And did all sorts of catering. Did, weddings and events, corporate events, nonprofit events. My favorites were always the really intimate dinner parties. I had a small handful of clients that would call and say, I'm having 6 people over to dinner and we want to do 7 courses. And it would be my very favorite thing to do was to plan that menu.
High quality.
Very high quality.
Low quantity, so you can
That's
focus
exactly
on the
right.
details.
That's right. Really small, appropriate portions that at the end of the evening, everybody was still really excited about what was coming next and not,
Overstuffed.
That's exactly right, which is easy to do.
The opposite of Thanksgiving.
That's exactly right. That's right. So yeah, and then I moved from that into event planning. Catering's the hardest work I know. Hospitality industry is no joke. And my body could not do that work forever. So I moved into the event industry and was an event planner for a number of years and really loved to do that. I really just love to set the tables. And do the flowers and
the tablescapes.
Exactly. Yeah. And then worked with such amazing vendors, in the city, local vendors that are just so good at what they do. And then, I started to see the rising trend of signature cocktails. That was really starting to become a thing with events. And
when would you say that was?
Oh gosh, definitely in the early 2000s. I was watching, mixology was kind of having a resurgence. These craft cocktails were really starting to push forward in restaurants, and we had really lovely things, like when Lola's opened over Butchertown Grocery when they were here. And I mean, just these really next level, Mr. Lee's, when Mr. Lee's opened, just these beautiful cocktail places that were doing really magical cocktails that were so sophisticated. Louisville tends to be, a little behind the curve on so much of that. So it was really nice to see it coming into the city.
You say that, but I'm from Tennessee. Which, now, to be fair, when I moved here in 2010, right? Probably as what you're describing was kind of really taking off, but when bourbon still hadn't really hit the boom yet, right? It was starting to grow. And in Tennessee, of course, I have a very different experience than most people. So you come in here as the cocktail evangelist. I was raised evangelical, but also in a temperance household where there was no alcohol around. But I did work in restaurants as a server after I graduated high school. And the cocktails were not very fancy. And I noticed when people would come in from out of town, they would have newer phones and newer things that we didn't have. And it was like Tennessee was 5 years behind.
I know. Well, I think it all moves. I think it moves from the coast,
And we do have some, big airports here.
We do, yes. And
so maybe we hit it right before Tennessee gets it.
That's exactly right.
It doesn't take that long.
Where in Tennessee for you?
Clarksville, Fort Campbell.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
the first person in my family to leave since Andrew Jackson was president.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
What in the world?
I know. They think I'm really weird.
Do your parents ask you to have a passport to come back to Tennessee from here?
No, that's if I need to go to California. Yeah. But they do say
right.
that. But every single time I talk to them, they're like, how's the weather up there? I'm like, it's literally the same as yours. It is the same. We are almost the same latitude and longitude.
I love it.
But it feels like I'm so far away because I'm not in that, 1 square acre that everybody else has been. So, so I'm really interested to hear your perspective on this transformation in the beverage industry. because you saw it happening. I remember I was just talking to another guest about how when we moved here, I didn't hear too much about like bourbon, but then I remember around 2015, I saw some friends going on distillery tours. I was like, why would they want to do that? Like, I love history, but I was like, what's so special about that? So would you say you were seeing bourbon cocktails being made or just all kinds?
Oh, all cocktails. Bourbon, my first love is whiskey. We all have that unfortunate, well, some of us have an unfortunate experience in high school where, we have too much of something and it's terrible experience. And I didn't touch bourbon for a really long time. And then I went to England to school for a semester. And while I was there, I was introduced to single malt scotch. And at that point, like, the doors of my mind were kicked open, and it was like, where has this been my whole life? I mean, this is amazing.
Across the ocean.
That's exactly right. I really became a huge Scotch fan, which was unfortunate on a college student's budget. But
they didn't have many of these $30 bottles.
Yeah. Oh, they're $30 bottles of Scotch, but they're not what you want to drink.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So then I really started to kind of move into bourbon when I came home. It was, of course, this is the bourbon capital of the world. 95% of the world's bourbon is made within 100 square miles, and we make 100% of the world's best bourbon. So that was an easy thing to do. And then I got married, and when I married my husband, he does not drink, but he had this weird sixth sense and could always tell when there was a special bottle about to be someplace.
What?
Yeah, we got married in 2011, right when you were talking about the bourbon bust was just starting to happen, or the bourbon boom, I mean. So he would bring home these unbelievable bottles. Like we were buying Pappy off the shelf at that point.
Right.
I had the first, I can remember my first bottle of Old Forester birthday bourbon. It was $37 a bottle. It was $179 this year.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it's just... It was crazy. So, and then I decided that, and I was still doing the event business at that time. I thought, I really enjoy doing tastings and really bringing people into the world of bourbon and helping them figure out what they like and why. And I think that educated drinkers are empowered drinkers. And I think that means that they're, in a monetary way, they're going to spend more money than they would if they were not educated about it. Like when you know what you like, that you really like tobacco and leather in a flavor profile of bourbon. And
which is not something you're going to walk up and say if it's not true.
That's exactly.
I need a taste of tobacco.
That's
and
right.
leather in my drink tonight. Said no amateur ever.
That's right. So then I decided I probably needed, some certification. And then I went to Moonshine University and got my executive bourbon stewardship there, and from the Stave and Thief Society. And that was great. And that was kind of really the beginning of when I really started to dive deep and started to do tastings, and then started to really start building cocktails and let my culinary experience kind of lead the way. I have my best friend lives locally, and we were at her house on, actually it was National Whiskey Sour Day. I will never forget this.
That's a day.
It is. That's a thing.
There's a day for everything.
And I hated whiskey sours until, I did, because everything I'd ever had out was absolute trash. Like it was like citric acid and really bad whiskey.
Oh no.
It was just awful.
Yeah.
So I developed a vanilla syrup for that specific cocktail. And she was like, I have a recipe. Go write that recipe on one of the cards I have on my bar. And when I went over there, she had all of these recipe cards of mine. I was like, I should do a cookbook for her. I should for Christmas. I should just put that together.
Just for her.
And then I started writing it, and it was like, oh no, I think I want to write a cookbook.
Yeah.
And then I got stuck. I, got so much of the book done and started to submit it to agents, because you can't really query publishing houses without an agent. And got great feedback. They were like, it's just not ready. It's just not ready. And so I said to my husband, I'm not really sure what to do. And he said, you should call our good friend that we went to college with. And so I called him, and he was like, yeah, let's absolutely work on the cookbook. And then before the cookbook, we didn't get any farther than this is really not a cookbook, it's a business. And it's an omni cocktail business. And we wanted to do
cocktail business.
So we do tastings and menu design and products and like anything having to do with cocktails, staff training, signature cocktails, bartending service, whatever that needed to be.
It's a business around you.
That's around cocktails. Yeah.
Well, and you.
And me, yes.
Your personality.
Thank you.
Your unique insight.
Thank you.
Your experience. Because I don't see you just walking out and hiring 5 people to do what you do.
Right.
It would take like one person to do each different thing that you do.
That's right. Yeah. So, he and I co-founded the business together, and then he stepped away this year, and I took the helm, and it's been bananas since then. But, at the time that the business was founded, there were so many different directions to go, and I remember my business coach saying, I need you to pick a lane.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like all of pick a lane
to focus,
and it was product. That was where the focus landed. And we started cranking out syrups one a quarter, and it was a lot. It was a lot for a few years, but it's been great.
So as you have built up this, maybe. I don't know how fast you're selling out. I assume you are selling all of these, but as you're building up your stockpile of different syrup products, are you then able to kind of branch out into those other areas that you had to set aside for a while?
Yes. So we have some great on-premise restaurants and bars that we do cocktail menus for and supply product for locally. And regionally, we have some in the French Lick area as well. And that's been great. We also have some in the Chicago area, and those are great. I love working with on-premise folks with restaurants and bars because it doesn't really matter where you are in the country. People want a good cocktail.
For sure.
And so often the mixology talent pools in city centers because that's where the money is.
That's right, it is.
So secondary markets that are outskirt areas, suburb areas, really need some consistent cocktails. And doesn't matter who's behind the bar.
Right.
So we try really hard to create menus for them that are super sophisticated, but it doesn't matter who's behind the bar, they can make it.
Yeah, like I went into one restaurant and I asked what signature cocktails they had. They were like, we have a really good old fashioned. And I said, oh, what makes it, unique and stand out? And they're like, there's a special ingredient in it. I was like, really? What is it? They're like, I'm not sure. Let me go see. And then I tasted it and I realized they just put in 2 times the amount of simple syrup that they needed to put in there. And
Yikes.
I didn't tell the poor server that, but
like, I'm gonna need an extra shot.
Oh my gosh. Or just like, I'm gonna have my water now.
That's right.
I'll make one at home, it's fine. Maybe with some of the 7 syrup.
Yeah.
Because you're making this accessible where people can have it at home. They don't even have to go out.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have a friend who travels with it in her purse. Like,
That's fair.
She can't even. She's
not
like, nobody knows how to
time.
make a cocktail. I have to carry this stuff in my purse.
For all those airport layovers.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, and is it small enough? How many ounces
It
is
is.
this
It's
bottle?
4. It absolutely will go through TSA. Yeah.
Okay. TSA approved.
TSA approved. I carry
That's
it with me, and
hilarious.
the 7 syrup. It really just needs bourbon. You can just order your little airplane bottle and mix it at your seat.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
That's
Goodness,
right.
so much strategy here.
I know.
Okay, so now you brought early times bourbon whiskey, and this is your favorite mixing bourbon.
It is. It's the Bottled and Bond, and the Bottled and Bond Act was designed to make a gold standard for whiskey. At the time, pre-prohibition, it was. You never really knew where your whiskey was coming from. You never knew what was in the barrel. Yeah. And so the really reputable distilleries were like, hey, we need some regulation. So
once it was legal again.
That's right. So the Bottled and Bond Act said that, it had to be distilled and barreled and aged and bottled in this particular distillery that's a bonded distillery, bonded by the government. All Bottled and Bond whiskey is 100 proof. So that's also
not more.
That's correct.
Or less.
That's correct. It's 100. It has to be 100 proof. So I like that it's a little higher alcohol content in it. The 80-ish proofs are not really what I want to drink. I really like to drink 100 proof. So yeah, it's
You mean
less.
you like to add your water yourself?
I do. That's exactly right. Yes.
You came here with these ice cubes that were, these are legit cubes. These are whiskey cubes.
They
right?
are. Yeah.
And where did you get them from?
So
You wanna
these
shout out to your ice supplier.
I do. Kentucky Straight Ice. They are the official ice of bourbon. Rich Fink is a dear friend and just an amazing businessman, and has grown this luxury ice brand in the last few years.
Literally, did anyone think they were going to hear about luxury ice
No,
today?
no, right? And when I met him, he was just starting out. We were both just at the beginning of our businesses. And he was like, let's be honest. Luxury ice is not something that's easy to sell. I was like, until you have it. And now that you have it, you're like, that's all I want in my old fashioned is those beautiful ice cubes that are crystal clear and melt so slow.
They are crystal clear. I was like, is this plastic that's frozen? I was so confused. I was like, how is it so perfect and it came out of your Yeti cooler?
I know.
What?
They're
But
beautiful.
They're perfectly sealed and they're plastic so they hold their shape completely. Yep. Oh my gosh.
That's right. And you can buy them by the sleeve at some local liquor stores, Westport Wine and Whiskey, and they carry our stuff as well.
I have a little tray that makes the cubes from Four Roses, but if you overfill it, you can't get them out.
That's exactly right. And they end up cloudy because your freezer's designed to freeze fast. It's not designed to freeze clear ice cubes. So
It's all good.
yeah. They're pretty yummy though, aren't they? They're
Yeah.
dead sexy in a glass.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. It's like I'm drinking with a diamond in the center.
I know. He makes them in diamond shapes too.
Oh, really? That's exciting. That's some luxury ice. Ooh,
yeah, it is.
I'd have to see that. Oh man, where were we? We were talking about you. And sorry, we got off on the ice. So Jennifer, you have told us about making Muddle and where you're at now. Do you have a vision for what people should expect to see from you coming in the next year or so?
I do. My goal with this business has always to be a global brand. That's what I want, is to be a global brand. And
well, I guess your experience started globally. Like you started with Scotch in your study abroad period.
That's right. And I love to travel. My husband and I are both huge travelers. And honestly, we have been to a lot of places that have beautiful wine programs in their country, but not a lot of good cocktails.
No, yeah.
So I know that, we could definitely contribute to their cocktails in other places as well. But
how does that feel, knowing I have a gift to give the world? The world would be a better place if I just made them better drinks.
That's right. Well, honestly, at the end of the day, it's not, it's about the love language that is food and drink. But beyond that, it's about what happens over a good pour. That's what it's about for me.
Seeing people's eyes light up.
It is. And it's the slowdown that happens. And it's the ritual of building a cocktail and going from the earlier day, into your home life, from work to home, and that decompress that happens. And then that it's just this moment where, tell me about your day. I'm ready to, I'm present now. I've been able to shed that. I'm here now. Let's talk about what your day was. And it doesn't have to have alcohol in it. We really think there's a seat at the table for everybody, whether you're imbibing or not. So that's why it was designed, to bring people together. It's about connection.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this has just been a beautiful experience. She made me a drink, you all. If you are listening to this on the podcast, come on over to my Instagram and see the pictures. I'll post some pictures from the old fashions that she made with, what was it, Amara cherries?
Amarena cherries.
Amarena cherries.
That's
Sorry.
right.
I have now drunk my old fashioned, excuse me. And, yeah, she just walked in here and whipped it up like it wasn't no thing. So
I am the cocktail evangelist.
oh yeah, how'd you get your name?
Well, my co-founder and I both grew up in pretty religious homes.
Okay.
And
like I did.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
okay.
the evangelical piece of it is very familiar to me and a comfortable place. So it's a little tongue in cheek, and it's also a little about just the connection for people and that ritual.
Maybe the compulsion to share.
Absolutely.
Because, I will say, I know a lot of Catholics who drink, but they're happy to have it themselves. And, I don't know. Evangelicals are that way for a reason. Because we're like, no, this is awesome. You need some of this. Like, you don't even know how much you need some of this.
That's right.
You just gotta try it. You just gotta try it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And, I heard a meditation guru one time say that the act of ritual... that ritual is about connecting our spirit with our self, like our spirit with our physical self.
Yeah.
And that ritual is a way to ground us in that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that about, preparation, that it's, it's just this, I'm shedding it. I'm moving into my true self here where I can be present and, with the people I love.
That is amazing that you would say that, because I have definitely heard myself say the same thing. And since I started this podcast about restaurants around town, before this, I was always very in my own head too much. I was like, oh, what am I going to do in 5 years? And not like you can even know. Well, the pandemic showed us, didn't
That's
it?
right.
We
That's
don't
right.
know.
You thought you did.
I thought I knew. But I was terrible at being in the present and feeling where I was. And so through therapy,
Amen. Hallelujah.
I was learning to, be where I am. What do I see? What do I hear? What do I feel? And so as I started this and going to all these different restaurants, trying new foods and taking pictures of them, I feel like that has become like a ritual for me, because it's really easy to sit down to eat or drink and you just like shovel it in like at Thanksgiving or whatever. But taking that extra time to observe it and consider the different elements that you have in front of you and the taste that you're experiencing and how it makes you feel.
That's right.
And like all that, I feel like has taught me a lot more about being in the present. And so I really love to hear that coming from you as well, because I really identify with that.
That's exactly what it's about. And whatever tools we have at our disposal to be present are, and food is so good at that, because it calls on all of our senses at once, right?
Your
That
sight,
we drink,
your taste,
that's right.
your
We drink
smell.
with our eyes first, and then we go down and we smell the orange from that old fashioned, and it just hits us in the face. And we're there. There's no, I'm not someplace else in my head. I'm right here.
And you can't overstate the importance of the clinking ice, right?
I know.
That's why in the movie theater, they have you that Coca-Cola commercial where they pour the ice
Every
in.
time
And
it
it's
gets
like,
us.
am I salivating? Oh, like you can't smell anything, but you
I
hear
didn't
the
want
ice.
a Coke, but now I do.
Right, and then you hear the fizz, and so like hearing is such a huge part of our
we joke in the business
too.
that a cocktail shaker, the sound of a cocktail shaker sells cocktails.
Wow.
Yeah, somebody hears that cocktail shaker go, they're like, I feel like I need a cocktail.
Right.
It's Pavlovian, like
Yeah, that's what
it's the bell. It's like I gotta have it. I don't know what it is.
It's the bartender's bell.
It is.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're just having too much fun. Oh my goodness. Well, Jennifer Bryan, if people want to find you and Make and Muddle, where should they look?
So we are available online at www.make and Muddle, MakeAndMuddle.com. We will ship all of these lovely products straight to your door. We ship worldwide. We are also available as a Friends of Longaberger Baskets. We're working with Longaberger Baskets now, which has been just a delightful experience for us. And then
I don't know what that is. What is that?
Longaberger Baskets. Well, back in the 80s and 90s, they were a basket. They make heirloom baskets that are beautiful. Picnic baskets, pie baskets, you name it.
Oh.
And they are now like a global brand. They're just beautiful heirloom pieces, and they're a lifestyle company now too.
Okay.
So they do food, they do wine, they do skincare things. And we were invited to be a Friends of Longaberger brand.
Does that mean that you put some of the making metal syrup in their picnic basket?
We are available on their website.
Okay.
That's right.
Nice.
And then we are available locally here in Louisville, Kentucky at the Wine Rack on Frankfort Avenue, Westport Wine and Whiskey off of Westport Road, and at Scout on Brownsboro Road.
Oh, okay. And then to follow you, to see what you're up to.
To follow me, you can follow me at cocktail_evangelist on Instagram, or we are at make_Muddle also. So you can find us on all social media platforms.
Fantastic. Oh, it's been so great.
This has been great. Thanks so much for having me. It's really been a fun night. So thanks so much.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. If you've not already, subscribe to the Lou Review podcast wherever you are listening. We are now on YouTube as well. So follow us and give us a like and leave me a review and let me know what you want to hear more of, because this is for you. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.